Welcome to another video. Today we're doing 6th grade math, chapter 1, lesson 6. We're talking about equivalent ratios today. Now, before we can do equivalent ratios, we're going to go ahead and touch on previous knowledge that we know. Equivalent ratios are going to be the exact same thing as equivalent fractions. For example, I've written down 1/2. When we change a fraction's form, we just pick a random number to multiply it by or to divide it by and change it either upscaling or downscaling. We're going to upscale 1/2 here by multiplying both of these by 4. This will give me 4/8. 4/8 and 1/2 are equivalent fractions. Because if I were to divide 4/8 by 4, I would get 1/2. Whatever happens to the denominator, or the numerator and the denominator, if it happens to both numbers and it changes it, it will make it an equivalent fraction. 1/2 would also be equivalent to, so let me go ahead and erase that. 1/2 could also be equivalent to, if I picked another random number like 7. 7 times 1 is 7, 2 times 7 is 14. So 7/14 is an equivalent fraction to 1/2. With ratios, it's the exact same thing. So let's say we always use the ratios of like boys to girls in class. Let's say there are 2 boys for every 3 girls in class. If I were to double this, I'm going to multiply both these by 2, I'd have 4 boys for every 6 girls in class. This is an equivalent ratio to that. If I were to multiply this by 5, 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 5 is 15. There'd be 10 boys for every 15 girls in class. These would all equal because what would happen is this. If I were to simplify this down, let me go ahead and pick a different color. If I were to divide these both by 2, I'd get 2/3, which is the same as what it is over here. If I were to divide this both by 5, I would get 2/3, or 2 to 3, which is exactly what I have here. So 2 to 3, 4 to 6, and 10 to 15 are all equivalent ratios. And that's what we're going to be dealing with today. Starting with our real world link, Andrea spent $2 to make 10 prints from a photo booth. Later, she spent $6 to make 30 prints. Express a relationship between the number of prints she made and the total cost for each situation as a rate in fraction form. So she bought 10 prints first, and she spent a total of $2. Later, she bought 30 prints, and it cost her $6. We're going to go ahead and compare these ratios. 10 to 2 and 30 to 6. Now, we're going to see if there's a causal relationship here. To make 10 become 30, I obviously need to multiply it by 3. Now, if multiplying 2 by 3 equals 6, then these two are going to be equivalent ratios. Because remember, whatever happens to the top also has happened to the bottom. Now, 2 times 3 does equal 6, so it checks off. Therefore, 30 to 6 is equivalent to 10 to 2. They are equivalent ratios. The next step in our problem is going to be they want us to find out how much we paid per photo. This is where we're going to do unit rate. So, or how much we paid. Okay, let me back up. Not how much we paid for photo, but what was the unit rate. So the unit rate means I need to make one of these numbers 1. Always go with the lowest number. So I'm going to divide both of these by 2 to make this 1. If I divide 10 by 2, I'm going to get 5. So therefore, 5 photos cost $1. That is my unit rate. Over here, I'm going to divide this both by 6 because I paid $6. This should still equal 5 photos per dollar because 30 divided by 6 equals 5. We compared these. They asked us what is our unit rate for 10 prints. It's 5 prints, 5 for $1. And then over here, unit rate for 30 also was 5.4. $1. So in both cases, when she went and bought 10 prints for $2 and 30 prints for $6, she paid $1 for every 5 photos. So in total, she bought 40 photos, which was $8, or 40 to 8, which is still an equivalent ratio. If you had multiplied 10 to 2 by 4, you would have come to this answer here. There are different ways to determine if two ratios or rates are equivalent. One way is by examining unit rates. By comparing units or quantities as rates in simplest form, you can determine if the relationship between the two quantities stays the same. So, just like we did above, 10 to 2, we divided both of these by 2, and it became 5 prints for $1. On the flip side, it was 30 prints for $6, so I divided by 6 to make it $1. And when I divide 30 by 6 as well, it was still 5 prints. Therefore, these two were equivalent. So you can find a relationship by checking their unit rate to see if they're the same thing when they're both simplified down to the simplest form. Or you can see if one of your ratios, 10 to 2, can be converted to 30 to 6 like we did at the beginning. So those are your two ways to be able to solve if ratios are going to be equivalent. Can you convert one ratio to become the other, or can you simplify both of them down and they equal the same thing when they're both simplified? Examples. Determine if each pair of rates is equivalent. Explain your reasoning. 20 miles in 5 hours, 45 miles in 9 hours. Write each rate as a fraction, then find its unit rate. Now, I'm obviously not going to be able to convert 5 to become 9, or 20 to become 45. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the unit rate here. I'm dividing both by 5 so that I can get 1 hour. When I divide 5 by 5, I get 1. When I divide 20 by 5, I get 4. So the simplest form or unit rate for 20 miles in 5 hours is 4 miles per hour, or 4 miles in 1 hour. That's the simplest form. On this side, I have 45 miles traveled in 9 hours. I'm going to divide both by 9. So I get that 1 hour here. When I divide 45 by 9, it actually equals 5. So my simplest form here is 5 miles per hour, which they do not equal. This is a way of writing something is not equivalent. Write the equal sign and then slash it through and saying no. So 20 miles in 5 hours is not equivalent to 45 miles in 9 hours. The rates do not have the same unit rate. They are not equivalent. Example number 2. 3 t-shirts for $21, 5 t-shirts for $35. We are going to go ahead and unit rate this down to the price per t-shirt. So I'm going to divide 3 t-shirts by 3. I'm going to get 1 t-shirt. When I divide 21 by 3, I'm going to get 7. So what it's telling me is it's going to be $7 per t-shirt. $7 per t-shirt. On this side, I have $35 for 5 t-shirts, dividing it by 5 so that I get the 1 t-shirt, the unit. If I divide 35 by 5, I get $7 per t-shirt. Since both of these are $7 per t-shirt when simplified, they are equivalent. They check out. Do these problems to find out if these are equivalent. So, question A, 36 t-shirts in 3 boxes. 36 t-shirts in 3 boxes, 60 t-shirts in 6 boxes, and then 42 flowers in 7 vases and 54 flowers in 9 vases. Go ahead and pause right here and then unpause when you have tried to solve both. Okay, now that we've tried to solve both, 36 to 3. We're going to do 36 to 3. This is for question A, and 60 to 6. Now, this one's going to be an easy way to do this. We don't have to do the unit rate here unless you want to, but let me show you. I know 3 needs to be multiplied by 2 to become 6. But whatever happens to one side of my ratio has to happen to the other. I already know that 36 times 2 will not equal 60. Therefore, these two are not going to be equivalent. They are not. So I'm going to put 36 to 3 is not equivalent to 60 over 6. If we want to do the unit rate, which we can solve it this way. Let's start with 60 over 6. I'm going to divide by 6 because remember, I want the unit rate. 6 divided by 6 will be 1. 60 divided by 6 will be 10. So this is telling me that there will be 10 t-shirts in each box, one box. And on this side, if I divide by 3, 3 divided by 3 will equal 1. 36 divided by 3 will equal, if I'm not mistaken, 12. I'm going to use my mental math. I know 30 divided by 3 is 10, plus 3 more would be 11, be 33, plus 3 more would be 12, 36. I can always double check my math. 36 divided by 12 should be, oh, no. Cancel. 36 divided by 3 should equal 12. It does. Therefore, this one is saying 12 t-shirts per box. This one's saying 10 t-shirts per box. They are not equivalent. So with question A, no, the ratios are not equal. With question B, 42 flowers in 7 vases compared to the 54 flowers in 9 vases. This is not going to be one where I can convert because I can't make 7 become 9. It's not going to happen. So in this one, I am going to use unit rate. And I'm going to go ahead and use some different colors for this one. I'm going to divide both of these by 7. 7 divided by 7 will be 1. 42 divided by 7. I know 7 times 7 is 49. And if I steal one more 7 away from it, it'll be 42. Therefore, it'll be 6. So this is saying that there are 6 flowers in every one vase. That's my unit rate. On this side, I'm going to divide both by 9. 9 divided by 9 will give me 1. 54 divided by 9, and I know if I multiply by my 9s, that will be 6. 6 times 9 equals 54. Therefore, since 42 flowers in 7 vases is equivalent to 6 flowers in one vase, and 54 flowers in 9 vases is equivalent to 6 flowers in one vase, these two are equivalent. 42 over 7 is the same as 54 over 9, or 42 to 7 is the same as 54 to 9. So these are equivalent ratios. Here is an example. Felisa read the first 60 pages of a book in 3 days. She read the last 90 pages in 6 days. Are these reading rates equivalent? Explain your reasoning. So again, she read 60 pages in 3 days. We're going to divide by 3 to find out how much she read in 1 day. When I divide 60 by 3, I get 20. So she read 20 pages in 1 day at the beginning. At the end, she read 90 pages in 6 days. If I divide by 6, I'll get 1. But if I divide 90 by 6, it gives me 15. So at the end, she was reading 15 pages per day. Her rate changed at the end. So these are not equivalent. If she kept the same pace of reading 20 pages per day, if when I divided this made it 20, we would say they're equivalent. But because it is 15 pages in 1 day, she did not use the same rate. She did not read at the same pace. Therefore, these are not equivalent. And we're going to go ahead and do the got it, and then we'll call this one a stream. Marcia, we're going to go with Marcia, made 10 bracelets for 5 friends. Jen made 12 bracelets for 4 friends. 10 bracelets for 5 friends, and Jen made 12 bracelets for 4 friends. We're going to go ahead and write this over here. All right, so we have 10 to 5 and 12 to 4. I cannot convert either one of these to become the other, so I'm going to go ahead and find the unit. I'm going to divide these both by 5, which will give me 2 to 1. And if I divide these both by 4, I'm going to get 3 to 1. Therefore, these two are not equivalent. And then I'm going to let you guys do question D on your own. If you have any questions, you guys can comment on the bottom or message me on Teams. As for homework, let's go ahead and do questions 1 through 8. You guys are going to be doing all of the questions. As always, I'm Mr. P. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Teams if you're in my class. And if you're not, you can go ahead and leave a comment at the bottom, and I will catch you guys on the next one.